Ever had one of those days where everything just feels off? You know, like when you spill your coffee, miss the bus, and your boss drops a mountain of paperwork on your desk? We've all been there. But what if I told you that bad mood might actually be good for you? Yes, you heard that right. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Are you seriously trying to tell me that feeling like a grumpy cat is a good thing? And the answer is, surprisingly, yes. Look, we're conditioned to think that happiness is the be-all and end-all, right? But the truth is, our emotions, even the negative ones, are like tools in a toolbox. Each one has a purpose. Think about it. If you were building a house and only used a hammer, you wouldn't get very far. You need screwdrivers, saws, levels, the whole shebang. Emotions are the same way. Happiness is great for some things, but sadness, anger, even frustration, they all have their place. Now, I'm not saying you should go out of your way to feel crummy, but what I am saying is that when those negative emotions show up, don't just try to swat them away. Instead, let's reframe them. But before we dive deeper, if you like our videos, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Alright, let's talk about creativity, that magical spark that helps us solve problems, come up with new ideas, and generally make awesome stuff. Now, you might think that being happy and carefree is the key to unlocking your inner Michelangelo, but research suggests otherwise. Turns out a little bit of gloominess can actually be the secret sauce to boosting your creative juices. Think about it. When you're feeling down, you tend to think more critically, you question things, you analyze situations from different angles. It's like your brain goes into overdrive, trying to figure out a way to make things better. This heightened state of awareness can lead to some seriously innovative thinking. One study found that people who were feeling sad were actually better at a task that required them to come up with creative uses for everyday objects. Why? Because they were more focused, more detail-oriented, and less likely to be distracted by irrelevant information. Ever notice how you remember embarrassing or awkward moments in vivid detail even years later? Yeah, that's your brain on bad moods. It might not seem like a superpower, but being able to recall information accurately is actually a pretty big deal. See, when you're in a negative emotional state, your brain kicks into survival mode. It becomes laser-focused on details, trying to avoid similar situations in the future. This heightened attention to detail means you're more likely to encode memories deeply, making them easier to recall later on. Alright, this one might sound counterintuitive, but stick with me. When you're in a good mood, you're more likely to brush things off, let things slide, and go with the flow. And while that's great for keeping the peace sometimes, it can also lead to misunderstandings and unresolved issues. On the other hand, when you're feeling a little grumpy, you're more likely to be direct, to the point, and say what's actually on your mind. You're less likely to sugarcoat things or beat around the bush. This can lead to more honest, authentic, and ultimately more effective communication. Let's be real, life is a roller coaster. It's full of ups and downs, twists and turns, moments of pure joy and moments of, why me? And while it's tempting to chase that constant high, to try to force ourselves to be happy all the time, the truth is, embracing the full spectrum of human emotions, even the messy ones, is what makes life rich and meaningful. Think about your favorite movie, book, or song. Chances are, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's the conflict, the struggle, the moments of sadness, anger, and frustration that make the story compelling, relatable, and ultimately, unforgettable. The same goes for your own life. It's the challenges you overcome, the heartbreaks you endure, and the times you pick yourself up after falling down that shape you into the resilient, compassionate, and interesting person you are. We live in a world that's obsessed with positivity. Everywhere you look, people are posting their highlight reels on social media, pretending that everything is perfect all the time. But let's be real, nobody's life is perfect. We all struggle, we all hurt, and we all have those days when we just want to crawl under the covers and hide from the world. And you know what? It's okay to not be okay. In fact, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to show your true self, imperfections and all, is actually incredibly powerful. Why? Because it allows you to connect with others on a deeper level. Our minds are constantly racing. We're thinking about the past, worrying about the future, and rarely taking the time to just be present in the moment. But here's the thing. The present moment is all we really have. It's the only time we can truly experience life, connect with ourselves and others, and appreciate the beauty around us. And sometimes, a little bit of negativity can actually help us get there. Think about it. When you're caught up in a whirlwind of anxiety or stress, what's the one thing that snaps you back to reality? Pain, discomfort, a sudden realization that something is wrong. It's like our negative emotions are a built-in alarm system, jolting us out of autopilot and forcing us to pay attention to what's happening right here, right now. They remind us that we're alive, that we're feeling, and that we need to take care of ourselves. Alright, let's be real, nobody likes feeling bad. We avoid it, we numb it, and we do everything in our power to make it go away. But here's the thing, sometimes, those negative emotions are exactly what we need to make a change. Think about it. How many times have you procrastinated on something important, only to find yourself scrambling at the last minute, fueled by a potent cocktail of stress, anxiety, and adrenaline? Or how about that time you finally mustered up the courage to leave a dead-end job or a toxic relationship, driven by a deep desire for something better? That's the power of discomfort. Ever make a decision when you were overly excited or giddy, only to regret it later? Yeah, we've all been there. Turns out, being in a good mood can sometimes cloud our judgment, making us overly optimistic and less likely to consider potential risks or downsides. This is where a little negativity can actually be beneficial. When you're feeling down, you tend to be more cautious, more analytical, and less likely to make impulsive decisions. You're more likely to weigh the pros and cons, consider different perspectives, and make choices that are in your best interest long term. Okay, so we've talked about all the surprising benefits of bad moods, but let's be real, nobody wants to feel crummy all the time. So, what can you do when those negative emotions start to creep in and threaten to take over your day? Don't worry, I've got your back. The first step is to acknowledge that you're feeling down. Don't try to fight it or pretend it's not happening. Instead, say to yourself, hey, I'm feeling a little off today, and that's okay. Remember how we talked about those negative emotions being like messengers? Well, if you want to truly shift your mood, you have to be willing to listen to what they're trying to tell you. The next time you find yourself feeling down, take a few minutes to check in with yourself. Grab a notebook or open up the Notes app on your phone and start jotting down your thoughts and feelings. So often when we experience negative emotions, our first instinct is to shove them down, ignore them, or pretend they're not there. But just like that pesky check engine light on your dashboard, ignoring your emotions won't make them magically disappear. In fact, it usually just makes them louder and more persistent. The key to effectively managing your mood is to learn how to acknowledge and understand your emotions without judgment. This means allowing yourself to feel your feelings fully and completely, without trying to change them or make them go away. Easier said than done, right? Okay, I know, when you're feeling down, the last thing you probably want to do is lace up your sneakers and hit the pavement. But trust me on this one, exercise is like a magic pill for your mood. And the cool thing is, it doesn't have to be anything crazy intense. Even just a brisk walk around the block, a quick yoga session, or a few minutes of dancing to your favorite tunes can make a world of difference. Exercise releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals in your brain that have mood-boosting and pain-relieving effects. Think of it like this. When you exercise, you're essentially giving your brain a high five. Alright, let's talk about mindfulness. I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but I promise it's not as complicated or as intimidating as it sounds. Mindfulness is simply the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about noticing your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without getting swept away by them. And it's a powerful tool for managing stress, reducing anxiety, and improving your overall well-being. The cool thing is, there are tons of different ways to practice mindfulness. Remember those motivational posters you used to see hanging in classrooms and offices? Cheesy maybe, but they were onto something. Visual cues can be surprisingly powerful when it comes to shifting your mood. Think about it. When you see something that makes you smile, whether it's a picture of your loved ones, a funny meme, or a beautiful landscape, it instantly brightens your day, right? Well, the same principle applies to negative emotions. If you're constantly surrounded by clutter, chaos, and negativity, it's going to weigh you down. So there you have it, the surprising truth about bad moods. They're not always fun, but they can actually be beneficial in some unexpected ways. Remember, it's okay to not be okay all the time. Embrace the full spectrum of human emotions, even the messy ones, and use them as opportunities for growth, connection, and self-discovery. The next time you find yourself feeling down, don't despair. Remember the tips we've covered today. Identify the root cause of your mood, practice mindfulness, get moving, and create a positive and inspiring environment for yourself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome content. And don't forget to check out our other videos for more tips and tricks to improve your life.